This is dedicated to the niggas that was down from day one. Welcome to Death Row.
Like we always do about this time.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3, uno, dos, tres, creepy true alone at night horror stories created by Whisper Diaries. Original video will be in the description, but welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another reaction video. I would say this is horror reaction videos. I'm gonna react to this. Original video will be in the description. Let's get straight into it. Let's go. Story 1, created by GE.
This was last fall, in the first week or two of
that
October.
is JE. I am so sorry,
I'm not
guys.
entirely sure how to start this, because it honestly all happened completely out of the blue.
Nigga, is this MJV? What the
It
fuck?
was a normal Monday afternoon.
This is literally his voice
I'd
actor.
gotten out of work and pulled up to my home just after sunset, and usually I'll park in the garage and head inside from there. But as I pulled in, I noticed something hanging on the front door.
I usually
So
pull out.
instead, I parked in the driveway and went up there to see what it was. Taped right on the door handle was an envelope. I knew right away it wasn't some random soliciting ad mail, because it had my name, handwritten with a pen on the front.
What did it say?
Inside
did
was
last
a
summer.
handwritten letter. It was short, but what it said I found pretty disturbing. Essentially, the person mentioned they've been interested in me and
Ooh.
wanted to meet at a specific place and time the following day.
Interesting.
Oddly, that was one of my days off of work, but I figured it was just a coincidence. The writer of the letter didn't sign it.
If somebody puts a note to my door of my residence saying that they want to meet me on my day off, I don't think that it's a coincidence. I think that you have a stalker on your hands, and I will contact the authorities pronto. Or if I don't want to be a snitch, then I will get a firearm, and I'm just camping that shit like this shit is Call of Duty.
So I had no idea who it was. Obviously, there was no way I was gonna go anywhere and meet with some random person. I headed inside, tore up the letter, and tossed it in the trash. I thought the whole thing was pretty disturbing because they knew my name and my address and said they were interested in me, which is just a strange thing to say, given I had no idea who they even were. Anyway, I thought tearing up the letter would help me not to stress about it too much, as there wasn't anything I could do about it. At least, not yet. After all, it could have just been some stupid prank. I went on with my night and got in bed just before 11.
What race is this dude?
Like I
He
mentioned
must be
before, I was off the following day, so I slept in and spent pretty much the entire day
I only
inside.
say that because there's
And-
no way in hell if a nigga get a message like this, he's just gonna be like, oh, it just might be a prank, and then just go about his night and go to sleep. What the fuck?
To even remember what I did all day, but I know I made dinner late, like 8 or 9, and started getting ready for bed right after. I went upstairs and into the bedroom to take a long, relaxing shower. However, a little ways into it, I heard the doorbell ring. Confused who could have been outside my home at this time of night, I opened the shower curtain and listened for a minute. But with nothing else, I figured they left.
Is this his actual
I
house?
wouldn't
'Cause
have
if it is,
answered
I'm
the
running
door
up in there.
anyway. I closed the curtain and continued with my shower. As I stood in the water and tried to relax though, I started connecting the dots between the letter from yesterday and the odd doorbell ring. I knew it could have been me completely overthinking it, but also the feeling that I wasn't felt a lot stronger with every minute passing. And then I heard something. It sounded like a few light thuds, or maybe creaks,
That nigga is
somewhere
in
right
your
outside
house.
the shower curtain. I froze and listened, then quickly shut off the shower and moved the curtain aside. Nothing was there. My heart was still racing as I got out, dried off, and got dressed. First thing I knew I had to do was check the front door. I crept downstairs and looked out the peephole, but saw
Jump the
no
tall
one
gate,
standing
hit
outside.
the hallway,
So
run to
I
the
opened
fifth
the
floor.
door.
Now I'm in Glee's place.
Immediately, a paper slip fell from the crease in the door. Before reaching down and grabbing it, I looked around outside. The trees rustling in the wind and the crickets chirping were the only sounds, and as far as I could tell, the whole neighborhood was still, dark, and quiet. Eerily so. I picked up the paper and closed the door, then unfolded it. It was a note in the same handwriting as the one from yesterday. As I read it, I could feel my blood rush and my face getting pale. The writer was clearly angry about me missing the meetup earlier today. It was like they really thought I was supposed to show up. And at the end of the letter,
get
they
pressed when you don't
signed
do what
their
they tell you to
initials
do.
this time. DN. This was incredibly creepy and disturbing, as it was way more than just a small note. This felt way more personal and because he was already gone, and I still didn't know who it was. Even with their initials, I had no idea. I paced around the living room for a while, a good 30 minutes at least.
The
Even
nigga should have
then,
got some
as I paced around,
He should have. First off, his decision making is very poor because the first time that he got the note, even if you contact the authorities, they can't do shit unless you get hurt or something like that. But you could have, I don't know, went somewhere and got some cameras and put them outside, or for example, random number calling me, I am not going to pick that up. Or for example, like have one of your friends like sit outside somewhere discreet and then just try to see if somebody's gonna run up to the car, or not run up to the car, run up to your house. But me, I probably just would have put cameras around the house, and then I would have just sat there and just camped. I would have just camped. And niggas up on my property, they are getting blown the
in my
fuck
own
down.
home, I kept getting this uneasy feeling that I was being watched. I'd look and check out the windows and the door over and over, but never saw anything. Eventually, I knew I'd have to sleep. Overall, though, I decided that in the morning I would go to the police station and bring in the letter and see what they had to say about it. I started heading upstairs.
Bro, what's up with these
As
images,
I reached
bro? They're
the
really
top,
fucking creepy.
I suddenly heard those thumping or creaking sounds, the same ones I'd heard while in the shower,
Well, they're coming in the
from
house.
inside the bedroom. I hurried into the room. Nothing. Not a single thing in there to warrant the sounds I'd been hearing. I'll admit, they weren't concerning sounds at all. It was just with everything else going on that it made me feel like everything could be something, even though it likely was nothing at all. I closed and locked my bedroom door just in case, then checked the closet and every other spot in the room to make me feel better. And just before getting in bed, I remembered one other place.
What?
I never went out there, but there was a small balcony attached to this master bedroom. I was a private person and always kept the blinds closed, so I often forgot it was even there. I walked over
Bro,
and
this some
pushed
horror movie
aside the
shit.
first few blinds so I could get to the door handle. I didn't even have to grab it to see that it was already unlocked. There was no way I left it like this. However, I didn't get a chance to open the door because just a second later, a figure moved from the corner of the outside balcony. I jolted my eyes at him,
Bro, this is some
seeing
scary
he was
shit.
staring at me as he moved closer to the other side of the door. I turned and sprinted out of the bedroom. I heard the balcony door open as I was leaving. I ran for the closest neighbor I knew.
So he's on the balcony coming into the master bedroom. I'm gonna assume the master bedroom's on the second floor. Nigga, I would have pushed that nigga off, bro. That nigga would have been looking like that. Y'all played the Walking Dead video game. Y'all know season 4. What's that nigga name? Abel. Remember when him and Clementine got into a fight and then they fell off the balcony and then that nigga leg broke? Bro, that nigga would have been looking like Abel from The Walking Dead.
Would help me.
Yo, deep reference
The
right there.
man
Deep
didn't
reference.
seem to be able to find where I ran off.
Check out the gameplays, you guys haven't seen it.
Police were at my house and searching around within 10 minutes.
I would have been on his ass. I'm
I was
sorry. I
still
gotta
incredibly
whoop your ass
nervous
for intruding
because
into
I
my
knew
house.
how awful it'd be.
And then niggas would be like, well, what if he has a weapon? What if he has a knife? What if he has a firearm? Nigga. Okay. And I'm Batman. Fuck out of here. Nigga getting his
The
ass
man
beat.
got away. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. They never found him. Me and a couple officers started going over the time frame of everything taking place, and it's pretty apparent that the man broke in while I was in the shower. Likely the sounds I'd heard while in there were
That's why
from
you
him
need to-
opening and closing the balcony
That's
door,
why you need to set up
where
booby
he
traps
went
in
to
your
hide.
house.
So since I'd heard those
some
same
Indiana
sounds
Jones
again,
shit.
he must have at some point gone back inside the house while I was pacing around thinking about the letter, which makes that whole feeling of me being watched even more disturbing. And most of all, what I find really unsettling is that from the short glimpse I got from the man looking at me, I felt like he looked oddly familiar. Not like someone I knew, but maybe just someone I'd seen in passing at some point before. It kills me that I can't figure out where or when I'd seen
Nah,
him.
that nigga knew you.
It
You probably
really could have
bullied that
been
nigga back in
anything,
elementary.
like just passing
He's
him at a
getting his
grocery
revenge.
store, which makes it way more disturbing that that was enough to get this man to follow and stalk me and form this dangerous fixation on me. A whole lot more could have happened that night, and all I can be is thankful that I got away mostly unharmed. It's been almost a year, and so far nothing else has come up. No notes, no weird sounds, nothing. I hope it's done, but even now I'm still constantly looking over my shoulder, unsure who's watching.
That is really creepy. I mean, for real, that is creepy. And the thing is, that nigga is probably still watching you to this day. Because he ain't got shit going on with his life. Because motherfuckers be bored. They will still do shit like... Anyways, guys, second story. Sorry about that.
I was driving from LA all the way back to the East Coast.
Damn.
I had taken the road trip to see a bunch of friends for a wedding and ended up staying for over a week.
What's the longest...
Because I stayed a little bit longer.
What's the longest road trip that y'all have done? The longest I've done... A single drive? I would say... Which is fuck. San Diego to it's either San Diego to Vegas or no, I'm capping. The longest San Diego to Fresno is 5 hours and 33 minutes as of right now. San Diego to Vegas is 4 hours. Okay, so the longest trip that I've done is San Diego to Fresno. And then the second is San Diego to Las Vegas. What about you guys? Do you guys like road trips? Let's go on
I
together.
only had 4 days to get back
And then I'll
home
dump
before
y'all
my
off on
next
the side
shift
of the
at
road.
work. So I was really pushing it with how
You
long
didn't
I was
give me no
driving.
gas money. Okay.
It was 1 a.m. and my eyes were killing me.
Damn, this nigga's not
It
even
felt
in
like
the
my
right lane.
eyelids
What the
weighed
fuck going
100
on?
pounds. The only caffeine I had was a hot coffee from a gas station 3 hours back, so not very hot anymore. And I was in the middle of nowhere. It felt like a dead highway, nothing on either side of it, and barely any cars or trucks around. Just the occasional car speeding past me, only to disappear down the road 30 seconds later.
What's that one
As I
horror
tried to keep
movie
my
where the
eyes
girl is
open,
driving at
I
night and the
noticed
car is
again
following her? She
headlights
pulls
coming
over
up
to
behind
like a
me.
gas station.
They weren't very bright, so it must have been
It's
a
like
pretty
every
old
horror
car
movie.
without those crazy bright LEDs everyone has nowadays. The car was also going a lot slower than most that passed by. This one took forever to catch up to me. After tailing behind for a minute, it merged into the other lane and started to pass. I kept my eyes on the road, just making sure I stayed in my lane to let them through. But after a while of them not actually passing, I looked to my left to see what they were doing. The car was matching my speed right beside me. Some old, dusty, dark red car, and their window was down. From what I could see, there was just one man in the car, driving, obviously, but he was also staring at me. I had my
That nigga
window
was
up
driving.
still.
That nigga was driving that shit like this. He was driving just like this. He not even looking at the road. He driving just like this. That nigga know the road that good.
So I don't know if he actually could see me, with it being dark and with the reflections and all. But he was looking at my window as if he could.
To the window.
The man didn't try to hide it either.
Drop down, y'all.
His light was on inside his car, so I could see him clear as day. He looked red-eyed and kind of drunk, just from his expressions and movements. But he remained at the same speed and just stared at me. It really freaked me out. I tried slowing down, but he slowed down too. I slowed down even more, and again he matched my speed.
Why did you just speed up?
So then I slowed down an absurd
pit maneuver him
amount, like down to
off the road and
25
just
miles
keep
per
driving?
hour
That's what I
on
would
the
have did.
highway. And finally, he didn't copy me and just held his
That was a
pace
joke, by the
and
way,
kept
guys.
driving. He
Don't do
disappeared
that
down
stuff.
the road a minute later. I didn't know what the hell to think of that. Maybe he was a creep, maybe drunk, or honestly maybe both. Only a
There's
couple
nothing wrong with
minutes
being a
after
creep.
whatever that was happened, I was back to struggling to stay awake. I knew I needed some caffeine, and possibly even some rest for a minute. 15 minutes down the road,
That's some
I
coochie.
pulled off the highway and into a really small rest stop. It looked like just some bathrooms and a coffee machine.
This nigga in a horror
No
game,
other
bro.
cars were there. I parked and got out, walking up to the machine and getting a coffee, hoping it'd be enough. By the time I got it and headed back to my car, another car was pulling in. I instantly saw it was the same old
Bro.
red car from the highway.
Oh my god, yo, so he pulled over on the side of the road to a random gas station. Gas stations usually are closed at this time of night, unless it's not a 7-Eleven. You can go inside of a 7-Eleven and get a coffee from a clerk. But if it's not like a 7-Eleven, like if it's like a name brand gas station, then it's closed. So this nigga pulled over on the side of the road by himself in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, to get a coffee. Granted, he is tired. He does need a coffee. But nigga, you could have looked up where the nearest 7-Eleven was at, or what's open 24 hours? Denny's? Ain't Denny's open up 24 hours? McDonald's, niggas? Like, come on, like those three things are like, you know, all around the United States, bro.
Way
You could have went to
earlier.
one of them three hoes.
How the hell was he pulling up behind me again? I never passed him, at least
Bro, this
not
some Resident
knowingly.
Evil shit right
And
here.
there was nowhere else to pull off. He would have had to pull into the grass off the highway pretty far out and discreetly wait for me to pass. Otherwise, I'd have seen his car on the side of the road. I got in and looked in my mirrors for a second. He didn't pull in behind me though.
Pause.
He went right up next to me, like he
Pause.
did on the highway. I could just feel his eyes staring at me, too much to ignore. I looked over, and sure enough, that's what he was doing, staring right at me with those red, unsettling eyes.
Kiss him. Whoa,
What did this
Yo, I'm
dude
wildin'.
want from me? I turned my car on, but the guy started talking. He was
Oh,
yelling
shit.
something, trying to get my attention through the window. I looked over again, and he reached over and opened his passenger door, motioning for me to get in, with this disturbingly friendly expression on his face. I started to pull.
That nigga want that pussy. I'm not gonna lie, I would have threw a grenade at that nigga. That nigga gotta go. That nigga need to get terminated, nigga.
Away, glancing over one more time.
Bro pulled up, opened up the passenger door. Hey, come on in. You don't know me. Hey, middle of nowhere. You don't know me. You have your own vehicle, but hey, you can still get into my vehicle. Yeah, I would have pulled the pin and chucked that shit like John Moran.
And seeing the instant shift into a dead stare, I got back onto the highway, but the guy followed. He kept trying to do the same thing where he'd merge into the other lane.
So this is a genuine question. I
speed.
know I keep pausing this, but this is a genuine question for the viewers. If you guys were put in this situation, if you're the dude that's being followed, what would you guys generally do? I want to know what you guys would do.
Time, I wasn't having it. I was getting a little more aggressive, trying to keep him away from me. But he matched my energy, also getting more aggressive. I could have sworn he even tried to pit maneuver me several times.
See, I said I would have did that
just
shit in the
quick
beginning.
enough before he could hit my car. Eventually, I saw one of those emergency vehicle U-turn spots. A pass-through to get onto the other side of the highway that went in the opposite direction. In a rather dangerous and illegal split-second decision, I turned onto it before he could even react and follow me. As I safely got onto the other side of the highway and sped in the other direction, I looked in my mirrors. I felt my heart continue racing for a moment. For a second, his brake lights turned on, but it seemed he gave up, as a moment later, his lights faded out and continued the other way. I was shaking for the next little bit, finding a gas station and just taking a break for an hour to cool off and to keep distance between me and that guy. During that time, I put in a tip for the police, mainly saying I thought he was just a drunk driver driving dangerously, but it didn't come up to much
I don't
of
know,
anything.
and it's
This
is a crazy situation because I'm actually thinking about it because it's like, at first the dude pulls up to the side of you and he's just matching your speed. And then he goes, and then you go, and then you pull over, and then you see him. Obviously hop back in the car and go on your merry way, but he's following you, and he's behind you, following you. What do you do in that instance as he's behind you, following you? You can't speed up. I mean, you can speed. Well, I mean, you could try to race the motherfucker and try to drive away. That's one thing. You could try to do that. I mean, you could try to go in the other lane and try to pit maneuver him, but it's like you don't really want to use your car as like, the quote unquote weapon. Cause like, what if it's like you try to use your car, like you try to pit maneuver him or like swerve him off and you fuck up and then your car fucks up and then you're stranded in the middle of nowhere with this random at night and he got a car, I don't know. Damn. That's just crazy.
days later,
I think he just got really lucky with that U-turn.
Having time to actually breathe, I looked up if the cops ever caught any drunk drivers on that road recently, thinking I might find the dude's
That's why I said I
mugshot
would
or
have just chucked the
something.
grenade at him.
But what I found made this whole thing more disturbing than I ever could have imagined.
What happened?
A day before I left LA, there had been a disappearance of someone on that very road. They found their car in the grass, and the person was just gone. No traces. The only clue they had was from a different driver on the road, who mentioned they saw a rusty red car driving erratically around the car that was later found abandoned in the grass. Reading the whole case almost felt like deja vu. It was exactly like what I experienced that night, only I made it out safely. Had things gone any other way, that night could have taken a really disturbing turn, and I likely would have disappeared too.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Spooky. Very spooky. Nigga, how's that a Home Alone
Hi,
thing though?
game
What
day
the fuck?
scratchers, please.
Hold on.
Here you go.
Don't gamble. Do not gamble,
It all
guys.
comes down to this.
Don't
They need a
gamble.
miracle.
Where will a little play
Come
take
on,
you? Game day scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play.
Do
can
not
make your day.
gamble. Save your monies. True alone at night. Okay, I thought this was like at home. I'm stupid. Story 3. Oh, Alaska.
This past winter, I stayed in a cabin in the northeast part of Washington state
Oh, my
for a
fault. I'm a
week.
dumbass.
It was a winter cabin, meant for staying in during the cold season and enjoying the winter scenery out in the mountains, which usually wasn't possible in regular 3-season cabins. When I got there, it hadn't snowed yet, but by the time I woke up after my first night, snow had began coming down. It was a lot, too, enough to keep me cozied up inside for the whole day. The fireplace with the cabin look and feel made for a great, relaxing time. I got real tired around 9 p.m. and decided to get to bed, but I had to run out to my car real quick to grab a bag I forgot to bring in yesterday.
So is he by
I
himself?
put my shoes and jacket on, then opened the door to run outside, when I immediately saw that the snow on the porch was messed with, like something had been there. When I got further out, the spots in the snow became more clearly footprints. I could even see the print that their boots left behind. I then looked to see where they came from, but lost sight of them, going out toward the woods. There was no saying how long ago this was, but I'd never heard them on the porch. Whoever it was didn't knock or anything. I got what I needed from the car, then headed back in. Since
Have y'all
they
ever
didn't
been in a
knock,
cabin?
and I didn't get a text from the cabin rental place, I figured it wasn't anything important. I got in bed and fell asleep.
I don't
For
understand.
the
I don't
next-
understand how people could easily fall asleep when some spooky shit like this happens. Because I don't know. I'm really on my A game and P's and Q's, bro. If I see footprints, bro, I would not be able to go to sleep. I would literally like just I don't know. I'll be somewhere in the house and just camp until somebody pops up, and then they get blown down.
2 days I was at the cabin. There wasn't all that much to mention.
I don't know. That's just me.
I did the same. Pretty much being inside by the
I
fireplace.
can't let it
all
slide.
day.
I don't know.
But through those 2 days, several more times, I checked outside and saw fresh footprints in the snow. Always the same ones, coming up to the porch and going back in the same direction. So, on the 3rd day, I decided to go in that direction and see what was out there. I put on a heavy jacket and walked into the woods. The footprints were long covered up by then, by the snowfall from last night. So I was just walking in the general direction I'd remembered seeing them going. I only made it a little ways into the trees before realizing everything looked the same. Like it was all just a blanket of snow over everything, in every direction. And with the downfall already starting to cover up my tracks, I knew I risked getting lost if I went any deeper. From being out there though, I saw nothing of interest that anyone could have been out there for. No paths or roads or trails. I went back to the cabin and warmed up. Strangely, after that, no footprints showed up on the porch for the rest of that day. It was like whoever it
definitely
was
saw you.
knew I was looking for them, and so they kept away. That's what I was hoping for, anyway. Hours later, the sun fell past the trees, and the woods and cabin were quiet. The soft breeze of the snowfall outside was the only noise aside from the crackling fireplace. I hadn't thought about the strange footprints in a while. I stayed up relatively late, not getting in bed until 12 a.m.
Damn, that's pretty
I
late,
fell
bro. I'd be
asleep
going to
quickly
bed like at 9,
with
bro.
the winter
I'm old.
ambiance outside. I felt like I was knocked out for a while, definitely a couple cycles of sleep before I woke up. So it was probably about 3
Do you
a.m.
guys think wind chimes
The
will
sound-
work? And when, like, obviously, you know, if you're intruding in somebody's house, you wouldn't walk into the wind chimes unless you're a special individual. But like, you know, like when you walk, like the presence of like the person, like the wind blows into the wind chimes. Like, do y'all think like that would have worked? Or I mean, he is in the cabin, so wind is blowing because it's snowing. So I don't think the wind chimes would have worked. I don't know. I'm just thinking like, cause I'm just thinking of like things that like or strategies he could have used to determine whether or not the person was coming back or something like that. He should have got one of um those they be showing it on the TV, the light sensors. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like if something comes into close proximity of the light shines bright and lights up the whole entire like they be in like those driveway commercials or like them houses commercials. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he should have got one of those hoes.
Sound of wind and snow outside
So
was
then if
still coming through the
something came in
cabin
the presence
walls,
of
but
certain
there was
proximity, it would have
another
lit up the
sound.
whole entire thing.
A crunch every couple of seconds. Someone stepping in the snow very, very slowly. Honestly, I don't know if I would have known it was footsteps, let alone woken up, if I didn't already know about the footprints being outside the cabin. That's how slow they were walking. I sat up in bed. For some reason, I was pretty calm. Nervous for sure, but not scared really. I was confident I could hold my own if something were to happen. I know it was very arrogant of me, maybe dangerously so. I listened until the sound stopped. It seemed to go somewhere on the other end of the cabin, the back wall maybe, where the fireplace was. So after a few minutes of not hearing anything else, I got up and left the bedroom, looking down the main hallway. It was really dark. There were no lights built into this hallway, so when I looked down, I saw nothing. In that moment, though, a very strong, uncontrollable feeling took over the false confidence that I had just a few moments ago.
Shit, that spirit came over.
Suddenly, I was really nervous that something was wrong, more than just someone walking around outside. I took a few steps
in
into
the
the
house.
hallway. Still, I heard nothing. I moved all the way to the end, where the living room/kitchen was, and just when I took a step toward the front door, I heard a loud thump on the floor behind me. I spun around and looked down the hallway I just came from. Of
Sorry about
someone
that.
moving quickly through the shadows, rushing down the hallway toward me. I ran straight for
tryna
the
rush
front
your
door,
ass.
grabbing the keys I'd left right by it, and running out barefoot through the snow to my car.
How do these people be
I
breaking in
got
people's
in
houses?
and couldn't see anything at all, as the entire windshield was covered in a thick layer of snow. I didn't know if he was chasing me, or right in front of the car, which made the whole thing even more horrifying. Thankfully, I could see out of my back windshield, being upright and small, so I began backing out, going as fast as I could down the gravel driveway. I did end up making it out of there. Took over an hour for a cop to show up, and by then, the footprints of him leaving the cabin were covered, so it wasn't even clear where he went. From what we could find, though, the man got in through a window on the far wall near the fireplace. Putting what happened together, most likely he then quietly crept to the farthest bedroom down the hall to look for me. It was the only other one aside from the one I was staying in. Had he chosen correctly, I would have been face to face with him and had
you
nowhere
would've
to
got your
run.
ass beat.
But instead, I left my room at the perfect timing, giving me a chance to escape. It's insane and honestly terrifying how just a couple of seconds made all the difference.
It's crazy, bro. I would have came back with the National Guard. Yeah, homies. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna end it here. Once again, this is 3 True Alone at Night horror stories created by Whisper Diaries. Original video will be in the description. Comment down below you guys' thoughts on these stories. If you guys have any creepy stories that y'all know about or that y'all have experienced that y'all feel comfortable about sharing them, then go ahead and share them. But until then, I'll see ya in the next one. Grandson out.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
Since you ain't, I even, and all of, I'm the justice, and even, and all of, I'm the, since you ain't, I even.